Yeah, I mean, it would be great if somebody just gave us, unlimited supply of organic produce and paid all our bills and just said, you just work and feed people, we'll take care of the rest. That'd be perfect. But seeing as that we have to provide for ourselves, we have a building to provide for, and there is a market out there for food. People will give money, and if it's not to us, they're going to go somewhere else. They're going to go to um, wherever it is, whatever restaurant, and just put down money for whatever they're going to get somewhere else. So we do see it as an opportunity to make a profit, and utilize that to increase our productivity and put it into a good cause. And so, although our main motivation is the service aspect and making a difference in terms of consciousness and people in the community around us, we do live in a world where you also have to be a little bit street smart and make sure that you do turn a profit, because otherwise you'll make a small difference or a big difference that's going to only last about a week. I guess the beautiful thing about it is that we're not overly ambitious to be the biggest, best restaurant that's turning a huge profit. I mean, we're not looking to make, like I said, it's not a venture that's, we're looking to make it become tycoons. We need enough to sustain ourselves, and the more we make, if it becomes profitable and does very well, that's great. That means people like it, and that means we can grow and expand.
Spiritual practice. How do you approach it as a spiritual practice, cooking? How does that become one?
Yeah, it was interesting when you asked how does it become a spiritual practice, because in many ways you don't change anything. The change that you make in the cooking practice itself is very internal. There are certain things you do. I mean, being vegetarian for us is reflective of recognizing the spiritual quality of all life. And so to minimize the violence in our diet and the violence we put out into the world, we take meat out of our diet, and we just focus on a plant-based diet. All our workshops are online at GitaNYC.com.
Right.
GitaNYC.com. That's a list of all our workshops, including the cooking workshops that I do, as well as all the other seminars.
And that's part of what you call the Gita Wellness, right?
Gita Wellness is specifically the cooking workshops that I recently launched, and we call it Gita Wellness because we like to see it as more than just a cooking class, but it teaches principles of cooking related to consciousness, related to community, related to spiritual principles, as based on explained by the spiritual teachings of the Bhagavad Gita. So we call it Gita Wellness. Bhagavad Gita is a spiritual treatise of the East, and so we kind of base all those spiritual principles and how they're related to cooking in the course, and so we call it Gita Wellness.
Seems to be.
Cooking itself is a meditation for sure, and the meditation we do, it carries over into, as I mentioned, every aspect of our life, and so you take that meditation with you, and it affects your ability to be present, to be mindful, to be loving, to be compassionate in all your other activities. And so when we're cooking, actually our meditation that we do previously is a way for us to carry that consciousness into the act of cooking itself. And so when we're cooking, it's kind of like meditation is like the training ground, and then every aspect of life is like you're in the game, And so it's kind of, the lifestyle is very connected and cohesive. Everything is connected in preparation for the next step.
Thank you so much, Doyal. I'm with Doyal at the Bhakti Yoga Center in Manhattan on 1st and 1st. And you can find them at GitaNYC.com. And this is Monika Mitchell for Good Business New York. And there's a lot of great things happening in New York, and we're here to tell you about them. Thank you.
It's a very kind of home-style Asian dish with vegetables and rice and lentils all cooked together. It make a very easily digestible meal all in one. It's kind of like a one-pot stop for Asian and Indian cooking that is very good for digestion, very good for balancing nutrients and digestive acids in the body. And it's accompanied with a side salad, and there's a little cake for dessert. And so together, usually it's a simple way to make a complete meal.
Wow, pretty fabulous. What does it look like? Okay. And this is
So there's some zucchinis in there, there's some tomatoes, some turmeric makes it yellow, and you can see the rice is there. And they cook it all together, and you keep cooking it down. And normally it starts out like a soup, and you keep cooking it, it condenses, and the flavors condense, and the vegetables, and it kind of all makes like a homogeneous consistency, and it comes together like almost like a stew kind of preparation.
It's like a stew?
Yeah. And yours has specifically quinoa in it and a couple other vegetables.
Quinoa. This is gluten-free.
That's gluten-free.
So how is it, Kenny?
Very, very
What does
good.
it taste like?
Some mixture of all these different flavors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it brown rice? Is that?
This is brown rice.
It's not a brown rice, but with all the spices, it takes on so many colors.
Right.
Yeah.
But we usually use like a Thai or jasmine rice.
Oh, cool. Okay, good. How about you, Chantrace? How is it?
It tastes great.
Restaurants are not they're not out to look for people's health. They're looking to make money. That's the point of running a business. And the sad thing is you can't make a profit unless you really cut your costs down as much as possible. So when you go to a restaurant, unless it's specifically stated like an organic restaurant, or they tell you, like a friend of ours runs a very successful prominent donut shop in New York City called the Donut Plant. And he'll say on his signs, we make all our jams on the premises. He'll buy fresh fruit, make his jams, and he puts that in his donuts. Or unless they say it very explicitly what it is, chances are you're getting the lowest grade ingredients you can possibly get. And I'm not going to speak specifically at any restaurant. I'm sure there's a lot of integrity, but just in general, from a common sense logistical point of view, people are going to be saving as much money as possible to just use, whatever canned or bottled things they can get. And so it was a challenge for me to, how do you not do that when you're on a budget and nobody's going to know anyways, and you want to just make something cheap, make something large scale, and you have to make a decision. Well, and for yourself, I wouldn't, I want to cook the healthiest thing I can possibly do for myself, but you have to make a decision. You're cooking for other people also, and what is the purpose of why you're here and what you're giving out to your audience and to your community. And so you have to make a choice. Okay, this might cut into our budget. We might not make the highest margin of profit. We might have to put in a little bit of extra hours of work, but we want to put something together that's healthy, that's nutritious, that's wholesome, that is sustainable for the planet. And so we make that choice, and so it has longer term benefits.